5 developers make a video game, but there's a twist: they can't communicate. In the past, we've ended up with some hilarious experiments, such as a game where you swim underwater with a sumo companion, a rage game about a leaping frog, and even a zombie-smashing multiplayer car game.
The theme for this episode is, drum rolls, ants. There are so many ant games out there. Designers love these critters and their complex behaviors and habitats. Let's see if the lineup of developers we've invited are going to be able to create a compelling ant experience or a complete chaotic mess. Okay, without further ado, let's start with developer number 1.
Hey everybody, this is Lemon from the Lychee Game Labs YouTube channel. Noah has asked me to kick off this challenge because, as it just so happens, I'm already making a video game about ants called Anthill Village. In my game, the ants have rather complex behaviors where they can work together to do things like fight and collect resources and even do things like farming. But in this challenge, we're not going to have time for any of that, so I'm going to keep it really simple. I started by making some graphics. We've got ants here, and we've also got an ant eater, because everybody loves anteaters. I made a quick and simple walk animation for the anteater, and then I made it controllable by clicking on the screen. Next up, I added the ants. They spawn in a series of trails that travel from the left to the right of the screen. And to make this look a bit more natural, I also added some noise that makes the trails undulate. And then I brought the anteater back in and gave it a long, sticky tongue attack. You can swing the anteater around to pick up more ants with this attack. And that's about it. I'm deliberately leaving this open-ended because I want to let the devs following me put their own creative twist on this game. So I haven't put in any kind of victory or loss condition yet. But what I have done is given the anteater one more ability, which is to spit out the ants that it's eaten like bullets. And yes, I know that a real anteater can't do this, but I don't care.
Before moving on to the next developer, big thank you to TripleTen for sponsoring this video. If you're afraid of being replaced by AI and want something stable that will remain relevant in future decades, TripleTen's got your back. They offer beginner-friendly online bootcamps with one of the highest graduation and employment rates in the industry. For example, they have this bootcamp on learning to automate business operators with AI, diving deep into building AI-powered applications, robotic process automation, and so much more. Or this exciting AI and machine learning bootcamp where you'll learn about Python, software engineering, and neural networks. But if you're not into coding, there are alternatives like UX, UI design. Other than the incredible skills you'll be learning, they offer a 100% money-back guarantee if you don't get a job after 10 months since graduation, which is very rare because 82% of graduates do get hired within 6 months of completing a bootcamp. With median salaries of TripleTen graduates being 70k USD, this is the ultimate affordable education with flexible payment rates and tailored for busy schedules. So learn a new job in the tech world starting from $200 a month by clicking the link in the description. You'll get a free career consultation call and hopefully begin an incredible new journey.
The last time I was on this channel, I was dev 91 out of 100. So opening the project as dev number 2 felt like... warm up. Sorry, wrong clip. Poking around, I could see the previous dev had kept everything nice and clean and tidy, which I appreciated, and I'm sure the next dev will definitely feel the same. I immediately got to work adding an audio manager for, well, managing audio. Then I recorded some professional grade sound effects. And added some slurpy noises for the anteater's tongue. The mechanics already in place were a good starting point. We'd shut up. But we needed to start gamifying things a bit. So I got started on a hunger bar. Now art isn't my strong suit, so I didn't try. The level of hunger constantly goes up, but it goes up faster when the anteater's moving around. Eating ants brings the hunger back down a bit. Okay, we've got an incentive for the player to go eat the ants, but it's not much of a game. If I wanted to run around scrounging for food in order to survive, I'd just turn my computer off. To add a little risk to the game, I introduced these red fire ants that are poisonous to the anteater. Side note, I have no idea if fire ants are poisonous to anteaters, but, you know, it's a pass the game challenge, not a know things about ants challenge. So if the anteater grabs a fire ant, then its current haul is ejected. He hurls, essentially. And it was at this point that I noticed the bullet mechanic. I mean, it was easy to miss. so I gave those sound effects as well. Here I got a bit stuck on where to take the game, but I also didn't want to leave the rest of the devs with no room to add their own mechanics without overloading the game, so I decided to focus on some of the less sexy bits. Like your mod. I figured since I was the first one to bring sound into the project, I may as well be the one to add volume controls. I also decided that the static screen was a bit claustrophobic, so I set about making it bigger, which was bloody disorientating on a featureless background. So I yanked some seamless tiles off the asset store to paint the floor with, and discovered that as nicely drawn as the anteater was, it somehow blended in with every damn tile I could find. I stuck to my guns about not wanting to do any proper art that R-tier devs were only just going to replace anyway, and settled for giving it a bit of an outline. Up to now, I'd barely touched the ant system, but I noticed that moving the camera around had buggered it up royally, so I had to fix that. It turns out that the ant spawning script was using the camera bounds to determine where to spawn and despawn, just off camera, which is fine for a static camera but not so good for a moving one, so I modified that to use the game's tile map bounds instead of the camera bounds. I also made the ants spawn from these little ant hills. I did say, I don't do art. Then, despite saying I wouldn't do any art, I made use of some Kenny UI assets to make things look a little bit nicer. I also added a little help screen purely for the player's benefit, a couple of UI buttons and menus, and that's it. So, yeah, good luck. Good luck to the next dev.
So when I got the game, it looked like this. There was no gameplay, just a bunch of mechanics set up. Everything looked kind of flat, but it was cute and charming, and it had early Flash game aesthetics so far. Like, just look at this little wobble animation. Unfortunately, the mechanics that were set up sort of put this game into a box of being a top-down shooter. So I was stumped for quite a bit and did a bit of research to find out what we really know about anteaters. And let me tell you, doing some research did not bring up much. But I pursued and found out they're very blind and have terrible eyesight. They don't just eat ants, but they also enjoy fruit, and one of their main predators are jaguars. So to start, I gave the player a little shadow and had the idea of a vignette that slowly increases the more hungry you are, impairing vision, just like a blind anteater. The game was in desperate need of a primary gameplay loop, so I decided that you need to go out and collect fruit off of trees and bring them back to your home to score points, which will be this poorly drawn tree log that I would not be upset if someone changed it. And once the hunger bar reaches its max level, it's game over. And then I quickly set up these trees that randomly spawn fruit with some layering to create this effect. You then shoot the tree with the ants that you picked up for a small chance of knocking the fruit out of the tree. And once the tree is empty, it then attempts to regenerate more fruit after 90 seconds. And then each fruit is worth a different value. The player has only 3 inventory slots, and I combine that with the option to eat the last piece of fruit in your inventory to restore your hunger. This forces the player to play a bit more strategically, whether they're wandering out further, want to find better fruit, or have to restore their hunger using more valuable fruit if they're desperate. Or maybe they were attacked by one of these jaguars. Just pretend they're jaguars. So to add some tension to the game, I made these enemies spawn every so often, and set it up super simple and bare bones for the future developers who get this to interpret how they want to do it. I also just can't draw in this art style. So if you like what I did here, I have a freshly new release game which I finished after a 5-year-long journey. It's an endless runner with challenging combat called Foot Joust, and it's out on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Or maybe you're just lazy and want to subscribe to my channel and watch my devlogs instead.
Hello, I'm Nick and I make neat games. I made the project go from this to this. When I first got the project, I opened it up and I was like, wow, this is my first time ever seeing someone else's project. And the first thing I did was a bit of research about the anteater. I learned that only 5,000 are left in the wild, and that was kind of sad. So I thought, what if this is a happy story of an anteater and his newlywed wife working as a pest control specialist? And with this story, the more points you get, the more things you unlock for your new little log house. Next, I made the jaguar art. Like the anteater, I used no animations, just code, random rotation, and random squash and stretch. It looks kinda goofy and cool. And for some variety, I made 2 more enemy versions. The world felt empty, so I tried to make it feel more alive. First, I upgraded all the environmental art and I zoomed out the camera a little more. All the art has a slight overlay texture to help it feel cohesive. And to make the environmental assets not seem repetitive, I added a code that gives them a random rotation, so every time you start the game, everything looks a little bit different. And also there's a little code that gives them a little sway in the wind. Oh, also from my anteater research, I changed the fruit to be more local to what they eat naturally in South America. I adjusted the tile art to be less jarring and look a bit more natural, and I think it came out pretty well. I added little plants that react to the player, and with
Using Unity as part of
system, I added things like wind, tree leaves, little heart effects, etc. And to reward exploration, around the edge of the map, I put some free fruits and a little bit of art, and I added a little sprinkling of post-processing to help it all come together. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the very first thing I did when I was playtesting the game is I added some ambient sound. It felt so dead with no sound, but after adding just a little bit of ambience, it was really cool. And after the art, I added even more sound effects. I even added this little diegetic radio that you can turn on with your tongue, and then it plays South American lo-fi. I added walking sound with some walking particles, happy wife sound, all sorts of sounds. And I think that was all I worked on. Please check out my game that I've been working on for more than 2 years now. It's called Yestersoul, a minimalistic Metroidvania with a magic spear. Bye-bye.
Hello everyone, BLANKdev here, and I am blown away already by the quality of this game. I almost just don't even need to do anything, I'll just give it straight back again. But there are some really nice polishing touches you can add, and because I just want to bring the chaos back to this challenge, I'm adding one thing which is a bit more crazy, which we'll come back to later. I was really happy when I found all these awesome little icons everywhere in the actual game mode, and I thought, well, let's just steal these, throw them on the menu, and I think everything just looks a lot nicer now. I thought it was a bit weird you could only play as the husband, so I made it so the coffee cup indicates whose player it is, and you can click on either one to switch between them. Currently, these red ants, they do nothing. So you could just spam and eat every single ant that comes out and just never even think about the red ones. You now turn green when you throw up, you slow down massively, you lose a fruit, you lose half your ants, and you get hungrier. So this is really apocalyptic. Do not eat the red ants now, which I think is kind of the point, hopefully, but we just never got that far. I also found that when I very first loaded this up in the game, I actually had no idea how to play, and even I, making this video, could not be bothered to read all this text. So I thought, what a better way to do it than just watch what you have to do instead, and I just think it's much more intuitive. I think it's time for some bug fixes. Haha, funny, get it? The enemies don't pause, so they could still kill you when you had the menu open. I noticed that the mother-in-law seems like it's supposed to be a good thing, but they also make you more hungry as if they were an actual enemy. Good mother-in-law, no more questions. I don't have much time left to work on the game, which is a bad thing because I keep getting lost every time I play the game. You just have no idea where you are and which way to go to get you back home. Now, one obvious solution to this is to make some kind of mini-map system, but I'm taking inspiration from, if you guessed it correctly, Ghost of Tsushima behind me here. Yeah, there's a much better solution. There's this awesome little wind particle effect. I have no idea how it works at all, but what I can do is steal this alongside all of the leaf animations on the trees and just rotate them in the direction of home base. Now let's come back to that crazier thing that I mentioned earlier. Inspired by this little guy that's sneakily been here the whole time, I wanted to make a little game control using only your mouth. If you're interested in how this works, I'm going to get a tutorial up for this on my own channel. And if you happen to be a UK-based student, I'm actually part of the organising team for Dirt Jam held at Durham University. I'm going to be there. It'll be great to see everyone if you want to come and talk about this and all the other crazy stupid things that we can get up to. Hope to see you again soon. I mean, genuinely, thank you so much. Been an amazing experience. Happy coding, everyone.
This looks fancy. Hey, my little menus are still unchanged.
All right, so the first thing I'm noticing is all the art's been upgraded, which is like amazing.
I just wanted to make the world feel more alive was my goal.
So you redid all the art. I put in a bunch of stuff that was like placeholder stuff, and it all got like lamified and done up, and it was real nice.
We have fruit now, and I guess we have a partner now that we bring the fruit back to, but the eating ants is the same.
I really love the atmosphere. Has just been enhanced so much. The Jaguars want their bills, apparently.
Oh, my little anthills have survived. I have no idea why.
I really love all like the family items that pop on like the Switch and the TV and.
Yeah, who added that? That was
genius.
really funny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I added that because I just wanted to give you some sort of reward for turning in the fruit.
Did I just kill Grandma?
I was thinking like full-blown simulator where you're an actual like pest control person and you go out on jobs. Could be like little randomly generated zones. Just like a simulator, you do the job, but as you get promoted, you could hire helpers. So you could get like a little anteater crew that goes out and cleans an area.
Ooh. That was a bit more gory than I was expecting. Oh, we have a baby. Oh.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my god. I've been murdering Grandma this whole time when all she wanted to do was give me her love.
I would have loved to, because they had the fire ants. So I thought it'd be really fun if there was like shock ants, ice ants, stuff like that to slow the enemies down when they're coming at you, or potentially like, you know, stick them.
Oh, so they'd have different effects when you fired them as well?
Yeah. So it wouldn't
cool.
just be you eat the ants and a counter goes up. They would actually keep track of like which ants you ate, maybe even in which order. Oh, or like almost like Tetris or whatever. You see the next block, you're like, oh, my next one is a nice shot, so I need to like save onto it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. Never really thought of anteaters as rent-paying creatures, but pretty sure they don't shoot ants as bullets either. So, you know, let's not get too hung up on realism.
Well, it's difficult because it's like, it's already kind of like this perfect like web browser sort of game. So much consideration has been put into elevating the details that are already there. It's the reworking of all the art. It's the little bits of grass that have been placed all over. Even when you're adding fruit to your little home log, it's adding the little bits and pieces. There's so much care that's gone into just adding to what's already there instead of trying to expand. A lot of that stuff is unappreciated sometimes.
Congrats for making me care about an anteater. That was impressive.
That was kind of my goal, because the first thing I researched, I read that like there's only 5,000 left in South America. So I was like, let's not have him be killed. Let's have him making a family or whatever. But
I feel slightly worse about the end screen that I made now.
Look at the freaking dead anteater with its bits strewn everywhere. That seems a bit over the top.
I laughed when I saw it. I was like, oh.
Anteater everywhere.
Okay, like the video if you did, subscribe to our channel if you don't want to miss out on future epic game dev collabs, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.